Hello everyone. Today I'm going to do a tutorial on a few different coloring, a few different hair colors. Some of you might remember this chart that I had done. I called them my bobbleheads of different colors, and if you're interested in downloading this, I have this as a PDF file on my sidebar, my blog, and it lists all the colors that I used for the different hair colors. So today we're going to do dark brunette, the auburn, light blonde, and dark blonde. So we'll do those four, and I hope you follow along. Okay, so we're going to start off with coloring this with a Joy image. I've actually just stamped the head. This is Melinda Hugging Heart if you're interested in the stamp. And we're going to do the dark blonde colors on her today. And for those I use E35, YR23, and Y23. These are available at Susanna's Custom Art and Card Design as a bundle. I created a few bundles for her along with tutorials if you're interested in looking at those. They're actually PDF file tutorials. So again, I'm going to start with my darkest color, and because we're doing blonde, we want to leave a lot of area open for the lightest color. We don't want too much of this brown. This is more of a highlighter and shadow. I'm just going to go in a few spots. And as I always say, rule of thumb, you can always go back and add more of the darker. A lot of people ask me why I start out with my darkest colors. I don't really know why. It's the way I started out coloring, even way back in art classes when I was young. I always liked to start with my darkest paints and blend from there. So now I'm using YR23. I just find it easier for me to start with the darkest, but again, that's a personal preference, not a rule of thumb. You do what works for you. I know a lot of people tend to start with their lightest. So now I'm taking Y23, which is my lightest color, my favorite color for using with blonde hair. And I'm not blending, I'm just laying this color down so I can kind of see where I might want to go in and add some more darker color. And like I said before, I don't want to add too much of the brown tone, so I'm using YR23 again. And then I'll go back and blend with my lightest color, just to soften those edges. And that's how I would do my dark blonde colors. So next we'll move on. Alright, so now we'll move on to dark brunette, and this is what we're going to be doing, and when we finish up it will look like this. I use 4 colors for when I do dark brunette. My darkest is E49, and then I use E59, E25, and E53. Again, and these are noted on my blog sidebar under, I think it's Copic hair color chart. So if you need to go back and get these. Again, I'm going to start with my darkest, and E49 is a very deep dark brown, so I'm going to use very minimal amount of this, and mostly just in the very shadowed parts of her hair. And another thing I'd like to note is when you're coloring with your Copics, you can use a very light hand. You don't need to push down and layer ink. You just really use that fine point, and the ink will flow from it nicely. You don't need to color down hard. You use more ink than you really need to, makes it harder for blending, and you get, you know, a great result from just using it lightly. So just another little tip. I never go very hard down on my markers when I color. Now I'm going to take E59, and I want this section of her hair here where it would look like the light was hitting. So kind of this middle line here, and probably some right here, I'm going to leave the lightest so that it looks like her hair is nice and healthy and shiny and pretty. And of course it gives it more realistic dimension. And again, I'm just going kind of over what I've already done and forward just a bit. Okay. Now I'm going to take my E25, which, if you follow me, is my absolute favorite brown color. It's just a great middle of the road brown. And I'm just coming down a little bit more in a few spots. A little bit more here. So we want under here to look a little bit darker. And then E53 is another great color that I love. I use a ton of. It's kind of a light creamy brown. It's great to use with basically any of the browns, and I would definitely list it as one of my most favorite colors. So now I'm just going in here and I'm going to blend. And if you think you need to go back and add more color, you can. And there you go. Very easy, quick to do. And you could go back and, you know, if you wanted to add a few highlights just to highlight this lighter, shiny area, you definitely could. So, and that would be dark brunette. Let me